Morning. Squishy. Oh, morning. Yeah, I guess a boop will do. So we got rained out pretty aggressively a couple days ago. About an inch of rain so far. It's supposed to rain all day today. Later. I guess not all day. Supposed to rain at some point today. Guys are still working on the building over here. Getting our roof liner on. BJ and Brad are hauling some beans. Dad and I are taking a road trip to Sabina to go pick up a spray trailer. These guys are putting the roof liner on first, that way they can lay the insulation on top, up above, and then they can zip the actual roof on it. Just makes it easier to insulate for them. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. There's no insulation up there yet, so it doesn't hurt it if it rains right now. Obviously, once they start rolling insulation, they'll try to do that when it isn't going to rain, but that'll be later this week probably before they do that. Let's see it. It's got totes already on it. Where are they on it? There she is. There's our new spray trailer. Huh? Yeah, it holds plenty of Chem. Got his name on it.
So it'll all fit on there. And then...
You got this figured out?
Yeah, buddy. You know, it might be a good way to get you boys a spray. You can handle it, figure this out.
Because you don't know how to use it?
Yeah, yeah. Might be a good way to do that.
We're going to take this thing home, and then tomorrow, these guys are coming down, and they're going to show us how to use all the stuff on this trailer. The Chem handler side of this trailer is very, very, very high tech. We're going to need a lesson. Get the trailer home. We're going to fill it up with water. So you guys don't ever see this well house very often, but this one's actually mine. It's part of the farm where the new shop's going in. It's actually located amongst a different farm we farm. So we are filling. So you may be wondering, why do you have this well house that you don't use that often? Well, the farm where the grain bins are at in the new shop was at one time owned by a paper company. This well house here shot water all the way up there. I mean, it's a mile up the road. Shot water that far. That's how they had water for all those buildings up there. Now the line between here and there is just completely destroyed. A highways went over top of it. Several houses have went through where the line used to be. It's shot. It does not send water up there anymore. Otherwise we would use it to have water up there. Right before they sold it, this well house, there was an old, or right before they sold the property the first time to the guy I bought it off of, there's a well house here that caught on fire. That paper company, being a large corporation that they are, I don't know why, but they put in a very expensive, very nice for the time well house. I mean, this is probably, it probably cost a couple $100,000 to replace this thing. They didn't even need it, because at the time they didn't use it, but it's just one of them things where I don't know why they did it, but they did. But it makes it handy for filling water tankers and spray trailers. So this is a 3,600 gallon tank or something like that. We should be able to fill it pretty quick. Now the well, under the well there's a railroad car buried right there, and that's the water storage for the well house. Now, like I said, I've never really used this part of our farm very much because we didn't need it. The old spray tender was only 1,100 gallons, 1,200 gallons. The small well we used kept up with it just fine. Now that we're using this one, we might take this fence out here. We farm these fields. Dad owns part of them. I don't own them. We own that with someone. I own this dirt here. We might tear this fence out and make a turnaround right in here, where you can at least turn your truck around, back in. So yeah, make it a little bit easier to get in and out of. Huh, there's a ball valve right there. I didn't know that. So we got 1,000 gallons now. I guess we probably better turn this ball valve over here. So we're not pumping water in here. We're pumping water into that tank and then basically pushing it into here with the pressure that's building. And it works pretty good. Like I say, you can fill up a tank pretty quick. Now it is only 2-inch plumbing coming into here. So it's a little slower than it could be, but not bad. One thing Dad and I were just looking at, the fills for each tank is at the base of the tank. That one too. We need some more hose over here. We don't have enough hose to reach this one. One thing I was thinking is it would be pretty nifty if we could figure out a way. I think it should be kind of easy. Put a diverter valve right here. Basically we'd be sending water to there from that tank, one spot to fill up that way, but not today. We got enough water to test this thing tomorrow. That's the goal. Yeah, I'm thinking if we tear that fence out to like right there, we come in here, like I say, at least circle around, go right back out and back into where we are. Maybe make it a little simpler. Or we can just keep backing down the lane. I'm a driver.
I'm gonna. So if I give you a recipe, you can put it in there.
You guys didn't know they were cooking, did you?
He'll lead you to the water and let you do that. Well, I want you to look. When you put it by product name or like glyphosate?
So this spray trailer, one of the main things it has is this quick draw system, and that's what we're learning how to use. So the purpose of that is to make mixing mixes quicker, more efficient, waste less chemical, and yeah, Dad's pretty excited about it.
So now you see that box for the area is highlighted. So now you can type in 56 acres, 48 acres, whatever you want in there.
Reload, edit recipe.
So now if you
watch your hand.
There it is.
Watch yours.
Let's do it.
It's not funny. So we're just circulating water back into the big tank.
Yeah, we're just making a loop. Yep, absolutely.
But we're simulating that this is hooked up to the sprayer right
now. Correct. So
we're gonna hit start?
Yep, we're gonna hit start. So we're gonna fire the pump up. First thing we're gonna do is put that 10% preload in there. So you see my bringing the valves open, we're getting that full flow through the quick draw. We already got our 10%. We're starting on our first product, so that valve closed, that valve open, creating the flow across the Londonderry right here. And we're gonna suck from that tote 1, which is that one right back there.
So all these totes are just filled with water, but they're simulating Roundup or chemical right now.
So there's air in the line, and that's why it's flashing at us. It's saying, hey, there's air in here. It pumped it out. Yep. So now we're rinsing. We rinse quick. Now we're going to start on that tote 3. So see, that one only opened partial because it's not a very full pump. So we'll pull that in. You can see our flow rate right there. Not air in there. That's why it's so got through it. Rinse. Now we're doing manually added product. So it's saying I need to only add 0.2 gallons. So I come over here. We're going to open this valve. And I'm going to open this valve. That creates flow down through the venturi, right? I can run my jug, dump it in. These valves over here operate the jug rinse. Right here. This is if you have a bottle. Exactly. The bottom one runs like the middle one runs the lead. Now this, when this is done, make sure you shut this valve off. Now we come back over here and that's the required amount. Now we're one. Yep. Now we're rinsing. So that's that 10-second rinse, flushing everything out.
So every time it switches chemical, it 10-second rinses.
It actually does it before you start the chemical back. So now you see.
So this thing should always be pretty clean.
Water.
Yep.
So here's the engine tuned out. So now we opened up our 3-inch. Now we're straight carrier. I can actually find that sucker up. It's done now. But
done. So it shuts itself off automatically too, then.
Yes, when it gets to the full amount, it closes the valves in here, shuts the pump off, and runs the air purge. So we're purge air through that line to push all the product out.
So as long as we have our hoses on the right totes and that information in here the right way, we shouldn't really, it should be pretty foolproof.
Eliminate a lot of human error.
My sprayer's running over.
We have this e-stop button.
What you do? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Or you can hit this button, the start button turns to a pause button, and you can hit that.
Then what do you do with what's in there?
Generally, when the sprayer
is water,
it's water.
Yeah,
so
it just be water.
pull away at the,
yeah, okay.
Which that's not uncommon. That, you know, you misjudged that. You know, there was. You put there. You figured there was 25 gallons left in the bottom, and there was actually 35. So you end up having to hit the.
Or I was doing something else, forgot about it, and run over.
Hey, you can eat lunch now, and it'll shut off for you.
Really, Bob, once you start using it, then obviously you'll have to build a little trust with the system. Most guys start it, run through their manual products if they have any, and kind of sit back and watch it go.
You probably go start spraying. I just got a problem. There ain't no place to put my easy chair. I'm gonna load this waiting on them guys to spray.
Well, Bill, maybe you can be a little.
I guess I'll set this truck. Turn the air conditioner on.
Why would you use the easy chair?
Yeah, I guess I'll set the truck.
In the AC, right?
Yeah, air conditioner.
So I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Obviously, we're gonna play some more and run some different.
Shut these valves off in or what?
So you can leave this top valve on.
That's our manual product.
Yes.
That is just water.
Yes.
Yeah. So we call that the water supply valve for your manual e-ductor.
Gotcha.
And so one of the most common, mistakes, it's a pretty common phone call that we'll get, is what you'll notice is that you have low suction transfer rate from your totes. You know, you should be somewhere in the 20 gallons per minute plus or minus, depending on product and viscosity. And you might be something sub 10. The most common things that happens is that valve, this valve, or one of these three valves. These are less common because those get shut off, but gets left open.
And you're sucking air through there.
And you're either sucking air. If you leave this open or one of these open, you're sucking air.
Okay.
If you leave this open, we're just continuing to recirculate water, which that water is coming back in and pushing in on top of this venturi, which means you're limiting the amount of suction that it's creating on the line, pulling your automatic products. So when you kind of wrap up, you're putting your jugs products in, I always say you should check 5 valves quickly. Boom, boom, and boom, just to verify.
What about if we're empty and totes it's getting empty? It's empty. It's shut off.
Absolutely.
That's when you pause the load, right?
We can simulate that.
Okay. Then you put a tote on and just start back up and hit run and it'll.
Exactly. So I mean,
and if you say you empty a tote mid-batch, and you're going to run out and you've got the second one already loaded, you can just move the hose from the one you ran out of to the new one and then hit resume. And it will pick up right where it left off at.
Put it back on if we got 4 on there.
It's going to wait for you to get this done, and then you walk back over and you hit basically finished or add the required amount, and before it advances to the next product.
The only thing you just have to be cautious of is that while it's in the mode of putting in these manual chemicals, is you're going to be putting in about 90 gallons of water a minute into the sprayer. And so your sprayer's filling up while you're doing that. And so if you have a batch where you're only putting in 2 or 3 or 4 jugs, time is of no worry whatsoever. A couple weeks ago I was doing some corn pre-spraying and I didn't get my dicamba in a tote, and so between it and the 2 other adjuvants that I was putting in about 10 jugs a batch, and there I had to be cognizant of time because of the number of jugs that I was putting in.
The Sonics by using a bean, it's a dry flow, put 30 ounces in, and it's got to mix it, and it takes time for that to happen. So can you slow the pump down or what?
So what you
make sure it's on low, but
yeah, and there's also, we'll show you, there's a setting where we can change that and use about half as much water.
Yeah. So if someone wanted to find more information about one of these systems, what would be the best way for them to do that?
You can go to our website and click on our Find a Dealer button, and that'll take you to your closest dealer.
Okay, and in our area, that would be? Agrichem. This is where you come in here. Come on. You guys are out of Savannah, you full service dealer of these of SurePoint systems then?
Correct. Everything on the trailer, full service dealer. Need more info about any of the above. Banjo, Quick Draw, the John Blue, the
Northwest
Northwest
everything,
the trailer, dual lift trailer. Just call Agrichem or go to agrichemeast.com.
Well, I appreciate it, fellas.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.